Uganda's opposition leader has appeared in court accused of compromising national security. Charges Kizza Besigye denies. His lawyer says that he was abducted days earlier during a book launch in neighboring Kenya, prompting outrage among rights groups. He's the latest politician put on trial in a government crackdown on the opposition.
An armed escort brought Kizza Besigye to a military court in the Ugandan capital, Kampala. The longtime critic of Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni received a resounding welcome from supporters. Inside, he was accused of seeking logistical support, including weapons, with the aim of what prosecutors called compromising Uganda's national security. Besides Kenya, prosecutors allege he held meetings in Switzerland and Greece. The retired army colonel denied all charges and said since he is now a civilian, he should not be tried by a military tribunal.
I think it would be unfair to make a ruling before we have had the benefit of legal representation in that.
In recent months, Ugandan authorities have waged a crackdown on the opposition, arresting prominent leaders and putting dozens of people on trial. But it's the manner of Besigye's detention that has caused the biggest uproar. His lawyer says he was in Kenya for a book launch when he was apprehended.
He was never told of any offence being charged against him. So, mean-looking security operatives who were clearly coming from Uganda here, stormed the place, the apartment where he had gone, grabbed him and whisked away back here, Uganda.
There are also concerns that Kenya is colluding in the kidnapping of foreign nationals on its soil.
The government of Uganda violated the territorial integrity of Kenya, and if they do not raise any issue about that, obviously it means they are complicit to what is happening. That's the reason we are going to put them to task.
Besigye was once a key ally of President Museveni before the two had a political falling out. Since 2001, Besigye has run against him in 4 elections without success. Besigye and his supporters have been repeatedly targeted by the regime, most recently in July, when dozens of members of his former party, the Forum for Democratic Change, were deported from Kenya and tried in Uganda on terrorism charges. Besigye has now been remanded in custody until December the 2nd. The Ugandan government has denied abducting him, instead insisting he was legally arrested with Kenya's knowledge, something Kenya says is untrue.
Well, journalist Julius Mugambwa is following this story for us. He joins us now from the Ugandan capital, Kampala. It's good to have you with us. What role has he played in Ugandan politics? Give us kind of a big picture here.
I think for anyone who's never heard the name Dr. Kizza Besigye, the first thing they would love to know, who is this man? This man, one would call him the most consistent, outspoken opposition politician in Uganda. He's opposed President Yoweri Museveni's government for over 20 years. They fell apart in 2000, and since then Besigye has been strongly opposed to his government. He stood against him in 2001, stood again against him in 2006, stood again against him in 2 other elections. All these elections, formally Dr. Besigye has lost them, but Dr. Besigye has refuted to accept the results, saying that they've been fraudulent. He has inspired many opposition politicians in Uganda, and he still has that influence. He still has that respect in the opposition circles and generally Uganda's politics.
I know that an alleged kidnapping followed by an appearance in front of a military court. I mean, the circumstances behind this appear extraordinary. Why have the Ugandan authorities, why have they gone to these lengths?
I think for people viewing this or understanding it from outside Uganda, to many of them, It sounds extraordinary, but to many people in Uganda, it may not be extraordinary. Dr. Besigye himself, this is not the first time that is presented before the military court. Many other opposition politicians have also been presented in the same court. His lawyer maintains that the military court, does not have the jurisdiction. Besigye himself, when he appeared before the military tribunal, he told them he is in the wrong place. He demanded that it's his right to be tried as a civilian in the civil court. His lawyer maintains the same. Several other people, including leading opposition figures like Dr. Besigye, like Bobby Wine, whose real name is Robert Chagulanyi, has also condemned this. Many of the opposition members of parliament are condemning this.
And let me just ask you, Julius, before we run out of time, how are people in Uganda, how are they reacting to this news? And I can hear behind you there is a football game tonight. So if they're not watching football, I mean, are they talking about this story?
Yes, there's been so much talk around the arrest of Dr. Kizza Besigye, starting from his wife, who broke the news on the internet when she said that the husband is missing, has been abducted in Kenya. There were lots of feedback to her post, lots of feedbacks that are also mixed. There are people who support the government and have asked Ugandans to be calm, to let the government do whatever it's meant to do. But the opposition are maintaining this. They are saying that it is not right. Dr. Besigye was in Kenya legally. Bringing him back to Uganda and presenting him before a military court is unlawful. It's illegal. The man should be set free.
Journalist Julius Mugambwa with the latest tonight. Julius, we appreciate your reporting. Thank you.